I think first and foremost, Andy, obviously, thanks very much for sitting down with myself to chat about your first month or so at Borough. Obviously, there's been a lot of change, and I'm sure there'll be fans that will be delighted to hear something more, a bit in depth and a bit more feature length with yourself, I think, rather than a 2-minute post-match, which obviously you so kindly give to me and Dan after the games. But first few weeks have come and gone. Want to know what you've felt about the first 5 weeks, what's due to come. But before we get stuck right into it, obviously today's news was Leanna Giles has been your first official signing. How pleased are you to get that one over the line?
Oh, great! It's been a long time coming. We thought about it. We've obviously approached various players, but she's been a number one target, and so pleased. It's been a bit of a process to speak to the player, speak to parents as well, because I think it's important to get families back in. You know what I mean? Especially with girls, young girls, with women's football. I think it's important that the family are comfortable with their daughter progressing on to a different football club, and she's going to get opportunities. Sunday could be a perfect opportunity to get some game time from home. Yeah, really excited to see her play in the red shirt.
What do you think she'll bring to Borough?
She'll bring some energy in the midfield. She'll bring a competitiveness. She likes getting on the ball. She likes moving the ball very quickly. And I think it's something that we've got good options going forward, you know. And I think if we can just have that forward-thinking passing on a more regular basis, I think it'll create more chances. It'll give us a little bit more protection in defence as well. So I think it's all round really good signing for us, really.
Yeah, it's been really nice. Even I've had a few messages today from people who's obviously close to it and kind of explain how good of a signing it is. So I can understand and imagine if they're delighted and they're coming to me to tell me that. Obviously, you're going to be delighted as well. I'm sure you've had very similar messages.
Yeah.
You officially took charge of the club on the 25th of August. Had to check that. I'll be honest, I didn't off the top of my head how to check it. But so it's been a little over a month since you've been in charge. With every manager, with every player, even with myself and the media team, there's a settling in process. How have you found it?
Oh, listen, Graham, it was an absolute whirlwind. The time is flown by. I was doing my podcast on the Monday night. My phone was going mad at the time, which I didn't know it was obviously the chairman who was ringing me up. So obviously got that out of the way. And once I'd realised who was calling me and why they were calling me, there was only one outcome. I've never wanted to get back in football for various reasons. But once this came alive, I've got a real passion for women's football and having 3 girls myself and just wanting to make a difference, how much I think I can help it grow in the area, not just at Middlesbrough Football Club, but within the area and schools and other clubs. I think it was a no-brainer, and I think the process so far has gone quite steady. You know, I think I've been really impressed with it, really pleased with how the girls have taken it to me. Obviously the fans have been great. The backing of the club has been fantastic. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to the future. You know, like obviously we knew by looking at the fixtures of some very difficult games, and we've had a couple really tough fixtures, especially the last couple. I'm not going to shy away from those, but I think over the next probably 6 to 8 weeks, I think we've got some real winnable games and games that I've targeted to throw us up the table, really.
You'd spoke a few weeks previous on a different Middlesbrough podcast, funnily enough, as it was, about sort of management and how you'd basically almost turned your back on it. You didn't fancy it. And lo and behold, obviously a decision was made by the chairman. You're called after that decision's made. As you just said, your phone's gone mad. You pick up the phone. I know Middlesbrough's your club. I get that. The obvious answer is because it turned your head because it was your club. But what were the reasons behind Middlesbrough Women actually turning your head outside of that?
Obviously, if I'm an outsider looking in, I've been very keen and I've been a watcher. Love women's football, and I just think it's an opportunity to help the club progress to another level. I thought the previous manager did a really good job, and the previous manager before that did a really good job, and people have put it on the map. And I want to emulate those kind of decisions and push it on again to another level, and just to have people proud of this football club and give people an opportunity. You know, that the side we had on Sunday was a very youthful side, and that's what I want to do. You know, I want people who want to play for the red shirt and want to wear that shirt with pride. You know, I loved every opportunity that I had to play for my football club and wear that red shirt, and every moment was spine tingling. You know, and I wanted that, and I think we saw that from a couple of the younger players at the weekend. You know, and they were so proud. The parents were so proud. The fans were so proud of them as well, and. I've been reading some of the messages on social media today about the weekend's games, and they're still from the reports that we did at the weekend. And long may it continue, you know, because these girls really want to play for the football club, and I want to give them that platform to be able to do it.
When it comes to the appointment itself, I'll not lie. I'm obviously a very big fan of the chairman because he brought me to the club as well, and I've got a lot of time for him. But Ben, in terms of being a chairman, especially because of COVID, is very much in his infancy of being able to own Middlesbrough Women Football Club and kind of push it forward and implement his ideas. And COVID have stopped the best part of 18 months of him having the opportunity to do that. So when you're speaking to a chairman, all those things might be right in your head about what you want to do and where you want to go, but the chairman has to be right. What seemed right about Ben for yourself in terms of coming to work for him?
Some of the things he was saying to me, mate, for me were just real buzzwords. You know, he wants the club to go full time. He wants them to achieve promotion in a set time. I say he hasn't put that pressure on me, but I put the pressure on myself, you know, and I think he's got those aspirations, those dreams to push this club to a certain level. He wants them to be in the Championship in the next few years. And you know, if someone's got those kind of dreams, those aspirations, and has got the backing in the local area, then, you know, I mean, they've got an opportunity, you know, and if I can help along the way, then fantastic. You know, I mean, we're bringing some new players in. We're trying to push the current players we've got to another level, helping those. We're trying to get the link with the men's team, which I think is a pivotal thing, not financial pivotal thing, but I think a pivotal thing to raise awareness within women's football. You know what I mean? I think it's got to be diverse, and I think they've got to probably just help us, just give us that step up on the ladder, so to speak. I think that's all we're looking for.
Absolutely. In terms of the game itself, I remember the World win because I had to do the announcements and stuff like that all through that week. It was not a quiet week for me, for want of a better word. So you didn't have a great deal of time to settle before you had that, what was a really huge game against West Brom. Obviously, we'd lost the first two games of the season. It was pivotal that we won. And I think we said after the game, it couldn't have gone better. We won 4-1. We dominated the game. I think what people probably don't realise about that game was how difficult the whole entire week was for the club as a whole, the people that were involved in it, and everything that goes with it. So it was a difficult week for the players, but and the staff, of course. But how proud were you of the players that you'd known a couple of days in the way that they went about their business on that day?
Oh, listen, immensely proud. I met the girls on the Tuesday, obviously the day after I'd been offered the opportunity. Obviously, there was a lot of upset people in the room that I met them in, angry people. But I just said to them, listen, I threw it out straight that I'm a normal person, I'm a football person, I'm a family person. I want to help them progress through to the next level. I want to help some into professional football. I want them to get as high as they possibly can, individually and collectively. And I just challenged them to go and do it for themselves and go and do it for the football club, you know, and just to explain, not in an arrogant type of way or a negative type of way, that the door's open. The door's open for them to do well, and the door's open for them also if they don't want to be at the football club, because I've got enough players, and we've got a reserve side up who's full of quality as well. And I need and want players who want to play for that red shirt and want to play for the club. And I believe now we've got some quality in abundance and players who want to really, really run through a brick wall for the club. And on that Sunday against West Brom, it was so evident. People telling me, and I'd watched the two previous games, by the way, full games. They seem to put a lot more effort in. They seem to want to get those 3 points. Where in the previous two games, it was like that there was a block in certain aspects of the game, and that's just such a shame, because I know how talented, just by watching them in training twice, how good they were, and it was just tweaking a few bits from ourselves, and it worked on the day, which was a great thing for the football club, and great thing for me.
How impressed? We've talked a lot about the academy players and the young players that have come through, which has of course been impressive, and they've really kind of stuck their chest out. 16, 17-year-old players there, but the likes of Rebecca Rowley, obviously captain of the club, has run her legs off sometimes at games. Obviously, you've got Rosie Todd there, is also young but vastly experienced. The likes of Molly Holder before she departed, and of course Cass. How impressed have you been by the maturity of the more experienced players in the squad?
Oh, listen, I think the decision to release the previous manager, hit them really hard, because as an experienced player, you're close to people. As a young player, you just get on. You get on with things because you get told to. Yeah, you're still in that mindset of parents telling you what to do. So that's what happens. Experienced players are different. I've been there when a manager's lost a job. It's a horrible feeling. You take it personally. You think you've let people down. You're not really sure what a new manager's going to come in and have their ideas, have their plans. But those four players that you've just said there have been absolutely immaculate. They ran through a brick wall for me on my first game. Rosie leads from the back in goal. She's absolutely fantastic. Ollie's been an absolute mountain. Captain fantastic. She's been absolutely amazing. Cass, you know what I mean? She's absolutely brilliant. Fundamental of the weekend for the performance that we had as well. And those two alone just dragged the young players through to give them a platform and an opportunity to go and do their running, so to speak. You know what I mean? They put the ball in dangerous areas for the youngsters, and they look $1 million as well themselves. So long may it continue, because I say with some really important games coming up, it's important that we have the spine of the team with experience and still being able to blood those young players into the equation, really.
Before we move away from the football itself, because obviously that's the main reason we're here in total, I suppose, isn't it? But since the West Brom game, we've picked up one win against West Brom in the Cup. Great day as it was. Derby aside, I think anyone who's been at the games will admit that we've put in some really solid performances where, unfortunately, we haven't had the rub of the green. But that's football. Those who haven't seen the performances may have just seen the results, and that's all that matters ultimately. But while the performance have been of a solid standard, can you now feel the results starting to come as well, especially based on how well we played on Sunday against the league leaders?
Yeah, well, I can only base things obviously on you're only as good as your last game, and I think performance-wise, if we play anything close to what we played against Fylde, we'll win quite a lot of games this season. And it's regardless who we're playing. If we play like that on Sunday against Loughborough, we'll be okay, and we'll get a positive result. But we just need to have the same quality. We need to have the same attitude, same desire, same work rate. And that starts in training. You know, obviously anyone who lives in the northeast will have seen how horrific the weather was yesterday. The girls were so keen to train. We trained in the pouring rain for an hour, and I can't fault their attitude. You know, they're desperate to get Sunday's game out of the system and look forward to the next game this following Sunday. So I can't fault them, and it's absolutely fantastic attitude, and we're in a good position. You know, people look at the last two games, 0 goals, 0 points, 7 goals against, and like you said, the Derby game wasn't our girls. There was something that wasn't right. But we put it right the following week, and the girls now know the standard of what expectations they have about themselves, and we just need to take it forward. And I think, performance aside, I think this Sunday's all about results and getting a positive result. And if we play anything like we did, we'll get one.
Talking of the next few games, obviously you've got Loughborough rearranged game on Sunday, then we've got Stoke at home, and then of course Nottingham Forest as well. Those 3 games, we've seen teams in and around us pick up results against those sides. Forest last night with West Brom. Do you see the games as defining games in the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think with the league table looking as it is, I think it's obviously split into 2 for me. I think there's probably 7 or 8 teams in our little league table, which we've got to focus on. We spoke about this on last Thursday. We went through all the fixtures and set our own targets of where we think and where we want and need to pick points up. And obviously we go into every game wanting to win, but you got to be realistic as well. When you're playing some of the sides which are in the league, it's going to be difficult. You know that Fylde at the weekend were very physical, dominated at times, but big in set pieces. But we give them room for the money, trying to do things the right way. But there's certain games that we expect to win, and if we don't beat them in and around us, then we're going to be extremely disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the big things that's happened since you came to the club, and obviously something I personally was delighted about, was that what I would class as a key appointment in the return of Laura Wareham. Obviously, Laura's Borough through and through. She's had a ton of success here as a player and as club captain only 18 months ago, although COVID makes it feel like 5 years ago, let's be honest.
It does, God, yeah.
How important has Laura been in the weeks and months since you've joined the club?
Oh, pivotal, absolutely massive. I can't thank her enough. Her effort, her desire, her determination. She is the best person to have in and around the football club. And I'm not saying that because I'm trying to blow smoke up her backside. I'm saying that because she is the best person for Middlesbrough Football Club. She is Mrs. Middlesbrough, be all and end all. She absolutely bleeds a red shirt behind her body. It's just fantastic, and she's so passionate about getting results for the club. She's obviously got a great relationship with players, with fans, with the chairman's wife, and it's great to see. You know, she's had a great career, but obviously now wants to concentrate on coaching, and the coaching sessions that she do, they're fantastic, energetic, makes the girls work hard, and on a match day she's just there for me, which is great. And to be honest, I couldn't do it without somebody like Laura. And I think it's great that I've got it. And long may it continue, because as I say, she's a fantastic person, first and foremost, and football secondary. Yes, she's probably just as good.
She's very quiet as well. You wouldn't imagine it, would you?
Yeah, do you know what? She scared me a few times with it was a derby game where she as we were walking down the tunnel, she said let me go first, and there was just an air of awkwardness within the girls, and then when she let rip, I knew I was in a game myself, because it was. But do you know what? We need that. You know what I mean? There's times that she's quiet and I'm loud. There's times that she's loud and I'm quiet. And do you know what? It's about doing what's right for the football club, and it just shows how much she cares. And you know what I mean? And I'm all for it. You know what I mean? If she was out of order and I was out of order, she'd tell me. And you know what I mean? We've got a great relationship. We speak to each other all the time, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'm really looking forward to how things are going to flourish long term, really.
She's obviously really well known in the Northeast as a, women's football. Everyone knows Wareham. It's just the way it is, really. But for those who haven't worked with her, what does she bring to the club as a coach and as a person?
As a person, she's extremely approachable. She's so kind. She'll do anything for everybody and anybody. She'll help anybody. She's just a really nice person, and I can't say that highly enough of her. And being approachable for somebody who's an experienced player, or being approachable for someone who's a young player, I think it's really key, because she'll have an arm around somebody one minute and then kick them up the backside the next. And I think that's really good, because it's getting the right things out the right person, and doing it the right way. When they need something, she gives them it, and when they don't need something, she holds back as well. And I think it's great. Football wise, I say she's new into her coaching. She's obviously learned and learning very quickly. She's brought to the table some excellent sessions. Obviously, she's a goalkeeper by trade, but her outfield sessions are absolutely brilliant and energetic. Love watching it. I love her passion for it, and she just wants to get better and better. And you know what? I can't fault that, because we're all in it for the same reason, and we're all pushing in the same direction. And Laura's no different. And as I say, she just bleeds that red. And I know she's obviously played for Newcastle and come recently from Newcastle United, but you just wouldn't believe how much passion and desire she's got for this football club, which is just a dream for me.
Yeah, she loves it. I mean, she wasn't away too long. Like I say, COVID made it a bit longer, but wasn't away for too long. So it's great to have her back, obviously. But I think, one of the most natural things in football, I think it sounds like a bit of a cheesy line here, and I'm certainly not a philosopher, but the only thing that stays the same in football is change, I think, and in life, I suppose. And naturally, things change. Players come, players can go. We've spoke about a player that's came. Since you've joined, obviously Lauren Robson's moved on, Molly Holder's moved on, and obviously Millie Bell have moved on. All first-team players, or people who've left for a variety of different reasons. Yeah. Because I want this to be as open and as honest as I possibly can. I've seen a few comments on social media asking if, in inverted commas, are things not right because players are leaving. And I can understand that from a fan's point of view and from outside, obviously. Yeah, of course. We know, obviously, personally, a lot of the reason for those departures have been work-related reasons or different related reasons or just straightforward football reasons. But how did you personally feel about the departures? Now, I don't mean individually, just, in total.
If I'm perfectly honest, I would have preferred to keep all three. I think all three would have continued to improve us moving forward. Three fantastic people. But football's football. Football, people come and go. Managers come and go. Players come and go. And the only thing what stays is the football supporters. And I think supporters have a right to ask questions. As I say, the three people who've left for various reasons. They left without disappointment, but also left and went onto the route in the club that they chose to at the time. I mean, the good thing about football is the door's always open for people. You know what I mean? If they want to come back and there's an opportunity and space to come back, then there's always opportunities. Because football is a short lifespan career, sort of, for everybody, for men and women. And this is no different. And I want the football club to do well. And if I think that will do better with certain people there, then I'll bend over backwards to try and get people back. And but listen, football's football, and people move, and you just don't lose any sleep about it, because you can't beat yourself up. If you want people to progress, then they leave. If you want people to come in and help your football club, you go and get somebody else. It's just quite cutthroat football, and but I can understand fans' questions and frustrations, but it is just life in football. And all I would say to people who ask those questions, I just support the people who will come back coming in. I know obviously Katie Ormer made a debut at the weekend, and got a lot of plaudits. Obviously, Armani's coming to the frame. Fair Dale's coming to the frame. Brooke played at the weekend, who I thought was absolutely phenomenal. And these are the players at the minute who want to play for that football club. So give them your backing. They've got my backing, and I'm giving them the platform and other players a platform to excel and play on a weekend.
Before we move away from that completely, obviously, I think people are fully aware of this. Millie obviously has left the club, but Millie picked up a frustrating injury, a second big injury, I think, of her career. And obviously, without going into detail for obvious reasons, she's been unable to play the season due to injury. She's taken a little bit of time out to obviously get fit and stuff like that as well. But away from the future and what that might hold, and our feelings about anyone leaving, I think we all really wish Millie well for getting fit, and thank her so much for her service and just been a great help coming into the club, I think, for someone with a lot of experience at Middlesbrough for yourself in the first few weeks, hasn't she?
Oh, listen, you put something on social media about Millie being a Borough legend. You know what I mean? And there's not many Borough legends, by the way, men and women. Millie is one of those. So, you know what I mean? Millie will watch this, I'm sure. And I just want to thank her for the short time I've been there. I didn't get to have her as a player on the pitch. I had her for every home game, every away game she came along. And listen, injuries are the worst part of football. I've been there myself. I wore the T-shirt, and it's horrible because you don't see an end. And obviously, when you've got surgery coming up, and you know that the length of the time that you're going to recover makes it even harder. Mentally, it's tough. Physically, it's even harder. And hopefully, she can come back fitter and stronger for herself. And like I said, the door's always open. You know, if she wants to use Middlesbrough Football Club as a platform to get fit, and to show us that she's got the heart and desire, like I know she has, and she can get back to the level that she's happy with, then listen, she'd be an asset to anybody, including me and our football club. So I just hope she can get herself back into the right place, because I said a moment ago about football is it's a short career, and injuries shorten that even further. When you have a long-term one, and we've had COVID as well, it becomes even shorter, you know. So it's a nightmare. It's come at the worst time for her, because pre-season is a time for every footballer to impress a manager, get in that team sheet. And then when you get injured in pre-season, it's bad. But when you get a long-term injury in pre-season, it's horrific. And I feel really sorry for her, because she's had good spirit. She's had good. She's been good in and around the place. But it's just a decision this has been made by herself, that she wants to take a step back, and we wish her well, and hopefully she can get back as soon as possible.
And I think another thing, just before we move away from Millie completely, is despite being injured, she's made it every game, home and away, came and supported the girls as well. Got up at 6:30, 7 in the morning to come down to Wolves on the first day of the season. So of course, anyone listening, if Millie is listening, of course that's the makeup of the person, I think, and how Borough-led she is. So but moving away from that, obviously, you know, there's no doubt that the players we've lost, Millie's been a big part of the club for a long time. Lauren scored goals for us. Molly was at the top of the game, got player of the match against West Brom. So obviously players like that are going to be misses, but without naming names, because obviously we have to be respectful and we wouldn't do that. How actively are you looking into add to the squad for fans who may be worried that we're a little bit short?
Oh, massively. As I say, we've probably looked at probably 6 or 7 players. Obviously brought one in today that got over the line. I'd be disappointed if we didn't sign another one within a week, if not 2 more within a week. As I say, the rules are that we have to put 7 days in for players. Sometimes clubs can waive those 7 days, and sometimes clubs choose not to, because they want their player to stay for the following weekend, or they want to try and convince them to stay within those 7 days, which is fine. But as I said, there's a few offers being put in for certain players, and hopefully we can get those over the line, because it'd just be nice to get a little bit more quality, fighting for places, and just to show that supporters and the players that we've got there that we're trying to push in the right direction, because we're all in it together. But I just think we're a little bit thin in certain areas, and I think it'll be good for certain people and positions to have that competition, so they're not as comfortable as, in my opinion, as they have been.
Absolutely. In the interim, we've mentioned them already, but 3 or 4 RTC or academy players that have came in. I think Abby Towers has been phenomenal since coming in. Obviously, she's from Sunderland RTC, 17-year-old, and already playing like Beckenbauer. So Abby's been a massive plus. But outside of that, we've seen Katie Ormerod. You spoke about her performance on Sunday. I think Peter spoke about performance outside of the football club and how good she looked. Certainly didn't look like a debut, but the likes of Brooke Newton, Erin Boyle, Armani and Faye Dale weren't actually part of the first team squad this time last year. Now they're all first team regulars and doing well at it. Not like they've been there for a long time, while the likes of Abby Robson, Kirsty McQuillan, they've stepped up, haven't made the debut yet, but they've been given squad numbers and been given a chance on the bench, and the door's been open for a reserve team that's basically won almost all the games for the past 18 months. How impressed have you been by the players that maybe haven't been in the first team on a regular basis due to their age or the fact that they've just came from the RTC?
I'll be honest. Once I'd watched them train, and I've been in and around there, and I watched a couple of reserve games, and seeing a couple of the girls come on as sub. I was really shocked that they hadn't played more minutes the previous year or start of the season. And listen, there's football's opinionated. One manager can like a certain player or not. Want to put that player in, but for me, age is just a number. I can go back in my career, you know what I mean. That Brian Robson gave me my opportunity at 16, and for me, I think if the girls are good enough and they show they're good enough, then go in. The only thing for me is, and the way that I can see if they're good enough is by sticking them in against any opposition, you know. And I'll give Katie as an example. You're playing against a side who's top of the league. You bring her on against a full back who I thought was superb. Katie give her a run around, you know what I mean, for 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and she should be very proud of that. You know what I mean? That's just the start. There's loads more work to go. Brooke Newton, I thought from minute 1 to minute 90, she made some tackles against experienced players. She won her battles. Abby's been probably, along with Ollie and Cass, three standout, one of my standout players for every single game. You know what I mean? Every single game she's consistent, first name on the team sheet, so to speak, in those football terms, because she's just that consistent. She's a lovely person, but you know what I mean, she goes over that white line. She's got a little bit of an edge as well, and I love that because she gets stuck in and doesn't miss training sessions, doesn't miss games. She's got a fantastic attitude. She's got good parents behind her who are her biggest critics as well, which is fantastic. You know, that I spoke to her dad at the weekend, and I just said to him how happy I was, how well I thought she did the weekend, and her old man was great. He just said, "No, she was rubbish in the second half," and blah blah. And you know what? It's great because it just reminds me of the way that my dad was with me. You know, that I'd score 2 goals, and you think you've done a good job until you sit on the dinner table on a Sunday and you've not played very well then because you've been slated a little bit about your touch or your performance or giving the ball away or whatever it may be.
I disagree with him slightly. I thought she was great whole 90 minutes.
I do, and I said that. I said that to him. But I think it's great that you've got these young people who have loads of people around them who can keep them grounded. You know, that we want them. We're all pushing in the same direction: parents, players, managers, coaches. And staff, and it's great because we've got a bunch of girls who are desperate for this club to do well, and I'm so desperate for those girls to do well collectively. And if we can just play a few more games together, the style will get better. Results will come. I'm not worried about results at all at the minute. I'm very confident in what we're doing. I'm confident in my ability. I'm confident that me and Laura at the minute are doing everything we can and more. Because the weekend we win at the weekend, we've got 50% win rate since we've taken over, and you know what I mean. So it's not all doom and gloom. You know, I understand people's frustrations and people's questions, but you look at that. You know, one win can turn things around very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. So the final question, when we're talking about results, I think Josh Ward has done a fantastic job as manager of the reserve side for a long, long time, and we've talked about the reserves results recently. A few of them have stepped up, Katie Ormerod and stuff like that, and obviously I'm seeing more players getting involved, and you're seeing more players getting involved, and it's going from 1 or 2 over the season to 5 or 6 in a week. For those that haven't came into the squad yet from the reserves, they're top of the league, they're smashing it. How much are you and Laura looking to integrate the two, either the reserve team and the first team? And what would you say to those players that are maybe thinking, well, the other players have gone up, I haven't gone up just yet?
Well, I said last night we trained in the horrendous rain. We called up. Obviously, Katie trained with us yesterday. We had Abby Robson trained with us, and Kaylee trained with us in goal. And all 3 of them were just stepped up fantastically well. They were fantastic individually, collectively in their team, and to come training with new people and step up just confidently like they do is great. And Josh and Ethan doing a fantastic job. Listen, with the results that they've had, the confidence they've instilled in the girls, the way they play is just fantastic. What I would say to the girls who haven't stepped up is, like I've said to them to their faces, I've had numerous meetings with them. The door's open. and it's wide open, by the way. You know what I mean? So they keep playing, they'll get an opportunity, and then when they get an opportunity, it's about them. They've got to take it. You know what I mean? It's the same as the experienced players that if they're in the side when we go on and run and we win games, that it's their shirt to lose. It's the same with anybody who's in the reserve side. The minute it wasn't an opportunity that it was Katie last Sunday, could be somebody different this Sunday. It could be somebody different the following Sunday, or it could be everybody together. You just never know when your opportunity is ready. But if you've got the desire to step up to that level and you're confident enough to do it, then I want you to play well. I'm desperate for you to be in that side, because if it makes the first team bigger, better, and stronger, and we win the games, then everyone's a winner.
Andy, really good to catch up, really good to have a chat and be honest and open, and hopefully the fans who are watching this get a bit more of an overview of what the first 5 weeks have been like, and hopefully we can reassess this when we've won the next 4 games and talk even further about it. Would be great, wouldn't it? But appreciate it, Andy. Thanks very much for joining.
My pleasure.